No doubt about it. This year has been an appalling dump heap, overflowing with the most disgraceful assortment of deplorable rubbish imaginable, mangled up in tangled up knots. And we would be best to just move on to 2021 and forget that this year ever happened. Right? Wrong. Stick with me and let's talk about why. Hi, and welcome to Classroom Confidential. My name is Christopher Youngren, and I'm a middle school ELA teacher in Tucson, Arizona. Well, sayonara 2020, we hardly knew you. Oh, believe me, we knew you far too well, and we've had quite enough of you. Thank you very much. To continue the Grinch metaphor, you're a three-decker toadstool and sauerkraut sandwich with arsenic sauce, and we can't take one bite more. So as teachers, not only have we had the excessive hand washing and the endless quarantine and the social distancing, but we've also had the students, the Zoombified students who check out a little more and more every day, despite our best efforts to reach them, to connect with them, to show them how much we care. They don't turn in work. They don't come to class. They don't participate. And they seem, for all intents and purposes, to just not care anymore. And as educators, it breaks our heart. And I, for one, and I don't know about you, but I, for one, am ending the year so discouraged, more discouraged than I've ever been, because I recognize how alone they must all feel. Heck, I feel alone. I'm in this room all by myself, 8 hours a day, 9 hours a day, trying to reach out to kids who are completely separated from one another and who I know are good kids, but they just, I think, are getting Zoom fatigued and quarantine depressed. And I, as an educator, don't know what to do to help them. And I think we all feel that way. And so we're ending the year, I feel like, on a down note. But does that mean as we move into 2021 that we should just forget this year and try and press the reset button and start all over again from square one? No, I don't believe it does. So while this year has been in no uncertain terms a ridiculously difficult one for most of us harder than any year that we've ever experienced, both on a personal and a professional level, it has also provided us with certain gifts and taught us certain lessons that we may not have received or learned otherwise. Technology, first of all, is a big one. I mean, I'm certainly not a technophobe. I mean, I grew up with video games, for crying out loud. I should be able to adapt to any technology that's thrown my way, right? Well, not so much, but I certainly don't have an aversion to it, and I've been open to it. And I think that one of the biggest hurdles that educators have experienced is the resistance to technology and viewing the world and the classroom through a lens of 2019 rather than waking up and smelling the stink that is 2020 and really kind of incorporating all of the tools that are online into the classroom. Educators have been like, oh gosh, I can't. It's just too difficult. I didn't come from that background and I don't know how any of it works. Well, I tell you, like Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or you think you can, you're right. And so, yeah, there's definitely been a learning curve for me, for a lot of us. But by accepting that the technology is here, not necessarily to stay, but at least for a little while longer, and utilizing it, it has made life much easier. And I plan on continuing to incorporate many of the online tools when we finally move back to an in-person classroom. Google Classroom, first of all, I think is marvelous, especially for people who hate papers everywhere. I love having it all in one place, contained right there in front of me, and I don't have papers all over my desk, and I don't have red pens all over the place where I'm having to mark up papers, etc. I love Flipgrid. Flipgrid is a great way for students to use their voices, especially if they're shy and a little bit reticent to speak up in front of class. This is a great way for them to have their voices heard in the privacy of their own homes and still be able to share their thoughts with the class. Jamboard is awesome as well. I mean, my students, I love them all. One of my classes put together a beautiful Jamboard presentation where every kid made a Christmas card on Jamboard for the 6th grade team. And oh my gosh, without any urging from me, what a special thing that is, and definitely something I'll be incorporating in the future. I think we've learned a lot about student connection in ways that we never have before, when everybody is so cut off from one another and the only place we exist is in this Zoomified grid, right? We have to, as educators, we need to find new ways of connecting with students. We need to break out of our own comfort zones and we need to try everything. I'm not saying every single day, put on a show and be in a dancing party clown, but we need to find ways to capture their attention. I mean, it's hard enough in the in-person classroom, but online, I mean, there's a certain novelty to begin with that comes with being on Zoom, but after a while, it goes away, and it goes away hardcore. And so we need to kind of reinvent the wheel every single day. We need to continue to find ways of connecting with students when they're all staring into screens and they're all getting fatigued after month upon month upon month of staring into this grid. We need to really push ourselves when it comes to student engagement. We need to read more, we need to learn more, and we need to expect more out of ourselves so that we can really retain their knowledge so that we can teach them what they need to learn. And I, for one, am never ever going to underestimate having the attention of a class again after the year that we've had. We've also learned the importance of self-care. I mean, I and pretty much every educator around me that I know have been pushing ourselves so incredibly hard. We're staring into screens 9 hours a day trying to reach these kids. We're getting fatigued. We're getting exhausted. I'm more tired this year than I ever have been in my life. And I need to force myself. I need to smack myself around and wake myself up and say, do something for yourself. Take care of yourself. Go outside, breathe some air, walk around the block, because unless you're taking care of yourself, there's absolutely no possible way you can take care of your kids. It's like being on the airplane and putting on the mask. Again, different mask, putting on the mask before you put it on your child. Unless you are surviving yourself, there is no possible way you're going to be of any use to your students. So taking care of number one, to avoid a cliche, but embrace it all the same, is job number one. You got to take care of yourselves, and this is something that I will definitely be taking forward into the future with me and never ever again underestimating the importance of. And finally, I've learned a lot about hope this year. By being allowed a window into these students' worlds, I have a perspective on them unlike any that I've ever had before. And we see through these windows that a lot of them live in chaos. And a lot of them are pushing themselves on a daily basis to rise above the chaos and be better than their circumstances, be better than their environment. A lot of them have given up and given in. But those who haven't, I am absolutely gobsmacked by. I am amazed by their resilience, and I am amazed by their tenacity. I've never seen anything like it, because if as grown-ups we're all fatigued and if we're all getting like this quarantine depression, I can't imagine the effect that it's having on kids. But they continue to show up and they continue to try their best. A lot of them. Some of them don't. But the ones who do, God bless them, because they're dealing with a lot. We're essentially asking them to conduct themselves in an adult way. And we're talking, in my case, we're talking about 11, 12, 13-year-olds, and we're asking them to be responsible. A lot of them have younger brothers and sisters running around, yelling, screaming, and they're expected to focus in an environment like this, and yet they do. And they keep showing up, and they do solid work, and they expect the best out of themselves. And so I end the year with a newfound hope in in the spirit of students and their ability to rise above what their circumstances have to offer. I hope we're all able to do that when we look back, and I hope we all take these lessons with us as we move into the future, and we don't just shut the door on the past, but that we learn from everything we've gone through this year, and we learn from our students and go, you know what, if these children are able to rise above, then so can we. We should expect nothing less out of ourselves as educators, because we owe nothing less than that to our students. Thank you so much for joining me today and all this year. I appreciate so much the support that you've shown this channel, and I look forward to continuing to make videos into the future and hearing from you. I really do value your perspective, and I love hearing the thoughts that you have to share with me about your own experiences. Please comment down below and tell me some of the lessons that you've learned this year and some of the things you'll be taking into the future with you. Have a very, very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, Merry Kwanzaa, Happy Winter Solstice, whatever you celebrate, and all the best for a prosperous and joyful new year. I'll catch you on the flip side. Take care of yourselves and take care of someone else. Bye-bye.